Okay, so today I'm going to be reading the book Boxes for Katje by Candace Fleming. Now, as I read through the story, I want you to think about the Frere model we made earlier for the word community and just continue to think about what that word means as I read the story. After the war, there was little left in the tiny Dutch town of Olds. The townspeople lived on cabbages and sweet potatoes. They patched and repatched their worn thin clothing, and they went without soap or milk, sugar or new shoes. One spring morning, when the tulips bloomed thick and bright, postman Klein Hootney pedaled his bicycle down the cobbled street. "Oh ho," he whooped, "I have a box for Katja, a box from America." "America?" exclaimed Katja. "Who would send me a box from America?" "The Children's Aid Society," replied the postman. "Children in America are collecting and making many hard-to-find items to the children of Holland. You, young girl, were lucky to get one." Katja took the box. She rubbed her finger across the block letters that spelled USA, the land of plenty, she whispered. Katja's mom came and stood beside her. "Open it," she urged. Peeling off the brown wrapping paper, Katja pushed back the flaps and pulled out a cake of soap. "What luxury," said Mama. "No more bathing with gritty homemade stuff for you." Katja pulled out the next item. "A pair of wool socks. Now that is luxury," said Postman Klein Hootney. Holland had become a sockless country since the war. He rolled up his pant leg to show his bare ankle. Katja dipped into the box again, and out came chocolate. Mama sniffed and sighed. "I have not smelled chocolate in years." Postman Klein Hootney smacked his lips. "I have not tasted chocolate in years." "Neither have I," added Katja. Her mouth watered as she remembered its creamy, rich sweetness. She could hardly wait to take a bite. Then she looked from Mama's smiling face to Postman Klein Hootney's, and Katja made a decision. Quick, before she could change her mind, she broke the bar into pieces and passed them around. For several moments, the three savored the almost forgotten taste. Then Postman Klein Hootney pointed. "The box is not empty yet." Katja reached in and pulled out a letter. It read, "Dear American friend, I hope these gifts brighten your day. Your American friend, Rosie." The postman nodded. "Yeah, Rosie's box brightened my day." "And mine," agreed Mama. "I'm going to tell her," decided Katja. "I'm going to send her a letter. Dear American friend, thank you for the soaps and socks, but most of all, for the chocolate. Sugar is not found in Holland these days, and anything sweet is precious. My mother and Postman Klein Hootney enjoyed it very much too. Your Dutch friend, Katja." Weeks passed and summer came, hot and bright. The townspeople of Olds boiled cabbages, dug potatoes, and dreamed of meat and bread. One morning, while Katja and her mama pulled up their tulips, rubbed off the stems, and sorted the bulbs into bags, Postman Klein Hootney came pedaling down the street. "She has another one," he hollered. "Katja has another box from America." His shouts drew Mr. and Mrs. Deland and their 5 thin children from next door. Everyone gathered around as Katja eagerly opened the second, bigger box. "Johan, look!" shrieked Mr. Deland when the flaps were pulled back. "I am looking," gulped her husband, "but I'm not believing my eyes." From the bag, Katja pulled 4 bags of sugar and a letter from Rosie. "Dear Katja, no sugar? Yikes! Mother and I are sending you some. We included some for your postman too. Your friend, Rosie." "Sugar, sugar, sugar," sang Postman Klein Hootney. Grabbing the smallest Deland, he danced with the toddler to the words "sweet beet," and Katja made a decision. "There's plenty to share," she said. "Ah," sobbed Mrs. Deland, dabbing away tears with the corner of her apron. "You are too kind. Thank you, Katja. Thank you." Then, as Postman Klein Hootney sang, the children danced, and Mrs. Deland sniffled, Katja divided the sugar. Later, she wrote to Rosie, "Dear friend Rosie, so many sweets. How can I ever thank you? I shared with our neighbors, Mr. and Mrs. Deland. They have 5 children who are skin and bone. With so little food in Holland, it's hard to keep everyone fed. Your gift has surely helped us. Your friend, Katja." Weeks passed and autumn came, rainy and gray. The townspeople of Olds picked the last of their cabbages and potatoes. They lined their old coats with newspaper to keep out the cold air, and they worried about the coming winter. How will we survive without good food or warm clothing, they asked. How will we live? Katja and her mama worried too, but as always, they planted their tulip bulbs in the hardening ground and looked forward to the day the tulips would bloom. They were brushing dirt from their knees when Postman Hootney came stumbling down the street. It's a big one, he said. So big I could not bring it on my bicycle. Yeah, a big heavy box from America. His excited shouts drew Dr. Boss from his office and the widow Gans from her yard. They drew Miss Oosterveld and Schoolmaster DeLu and all 7 of the Delans. Everyone crowded around Katja as she dug into the 3rd bigger box from America. Wunderbar, shouted Mr. Boss when he looked into the box. Such generosity. There were cans of meat, boxes of powdered milk, bags of sugar, and a letter from Rosie. Dear Katja, jeepers, you'll never guess. Mother told her friends about your last letter, and they told their friends, and the doorbell just kept ringing. Send this to Katja, people kept saying. So we did. Hope this puts some fat on those Deland kids. Love, Rosie. Oh, it will, cried Mrs. Deland, and Katja made another decision. There's plenty to share, she said. Bless you, cried Miss Oosterveld. Amid kisses and hugs and heartfelt thank yous, Katja divided the food. And later she wrote to Rosie. Dear Rosie, your box caused so much excitement in Olds. Almost everyone came to see what your kind townspeople had sent. Everyone left with a share of the gifts. For a small time, it was like a party here. People stopped worrying about the holes in their clothes and shoes. They did not think about the long, cold winter ahead. You see, your friendship has not only filled our stomachs, it's lifted our spirits as well. Weeks passed and winter roared in, snow deep and bitter cold, the worst winter anyone could remember. The townspeople of Old Slayers, whatever clothing they had, they huddled close to their small fires, ate sparingly from almost empty cupboards, shivered and prayed. One dark morning, when Katja felt as frozen as the tulip bulbs buried beneath the snow, there came a pounding on her door. She opened it to find Postman Hooten and the townspeople crowded in the yard. What a delivery I have for you, whooped the postman. He pulled a sled and stacked high with boxes straight into the house. So many, gasped Katja. Ah, but there are more, cried the postman. Squeezing his way through the crowd, he returned with another box, stacked sled, and another, and still another. There was barely room for boxes and people as Katja pushed flaps back and pulled out coats, mittens, socks and shoes, scarves, hats and sweaters, cakes of soap, bars of chocolate, bags, cartons, and cans of food. And at the bottom of the box, there was a letter from Rosie. Dear Katja, you won't believe what is happening. Everyone, everywhere wants to send a box to you. The school organized a canned food drive. The church organized a clothes drive. Even the local businesses added items to the box. We hope there's enough for your friends and neighbors. Slowly the snow melted and the wind lost its bite. Each day more and more tulips poked their green tips through the soil, blooming into a sea of pink, yellow, purple, and red. One warm morning, Katja said, it would be nice to send a box to Rosie. Yeah, said Mama, but what would you send? Katja smiled as she told her. It is a good idea, said Mama. Oh ho, I like it, agreed Postman Hootney. We must do it, said the Delans. Together, added Dr. Boss. And so one bright morning, Mr. Everett, the mailman, hurried down Elm Street. I have a box for Rosie, he announced. A box from Holland. Holland, exclaimed Rosie. What could it be? Eagerly, she ripped off the wrapping and pulled back the flaps. So many, gasped her mother. Then Rosie read the letter. Dear Rosie, we hope these tulip bulbs from Olds will brighten Mayfield's days. Plant them in the fall and wait for a surprise in the spring. Love, Katja. And that is our story, Boxes for Katja. Thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoyed the story.